Um, like I'm not feeling too good. Um, fuck, that's gonna be loud. It's gonna peak. I try to be kind. I just don't want people to see me as like I don't care or that like I don't give a shit to an extent, but I care enough because I know what it's like, you know, um to be in the hole. Like no one wants to be in the hole at all. Whatever hole it is, no one like I'm not even trying to be like that. All I'm saying is that like no one likes to be in that fucking void. You know, whether you're depressed, angry, broke, you know, just struggling. No one wants to fucking go through any of that shit. Right now, I just kind of feel overwhelmed. You know, probably due to the lack of sleep. You know, because I work night shifts and I have a trouble sleeping until like 5 o'clock until I have to go into my next shift. So I only get like 3 to 4 hours of sleep. To be honest, it's kind of good enough. You know, sometimes I even get like just 2 hours of sleep because it's so hard to fall asleep. Um, but I'm just trying. You know, half of this stems from like when I was younger. Um, some things that my mom told me and seeing things that my dad went through, you know, growing up, like that just shit. That stuff just like packs in, you know what I'm saying? And it's not even their fault. They were just trying to fucking live a life, dude. Like like it's hard to accept, but the more you start to realize that if your life if you yourself are going through it, that means that your parents at one point went through it as well. And you have to give them some sort of like credit for trying, you know? Um it's sad. It really is. And you know, like the only reason why I have like this kind of compassion for people, you know, the only reasons I should say is the fact that like one being Christian as the main thing, you know, um, is very important. Um, at least to me. It doesn't have to be to you. All I'm saying it is to me because you know it keeps me uh on a path, focused, you know, and helps me push through things that I didn't think, you know, I'd be able to get through without having this kind of like mentality, you know, something bigger than myself, you know, to believe in something bigger than yourself. And it doesn't have to be just on the fact of God. No, it's the fact that it's supposed to be a whole. You're part of a brotherhood of people that understand and think like minded in the sense, you know, not talking about the fucking weirdos or the people that like are extremists. Like no. I'm talking about the people that like understand the bigger picture than themselves. And um, you know, when it comes down to Um, the thing with the other thing is that like seeing it firsthand with my parents, go through the struggle that they did. Not even like, hearing stories of when they were like kids. Like, I'm grateful that I never had a life like that. 100% grateful. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was their life, and I commend them for like, making it this far in life, and I don't know about my mom, but I know about my dad, and I had to give him credit. And at one point in my life, I just had this whole overwhelming feeling of like, like fuck, dude, really fuck things up for me and all the X, Y, and Z. And to be honest, man, you know, they didn't have the proper guidance, and I mean, whether they admit it or not, like they just didn't have it, but they put in the effort and they tried, you know, they tried. Um, I don't talk to my mom now, but that doesn't mean I don't love her. Like, I love when I last like interacted with her as a kid, you know, being a kid. That was my mom. After that, like, it was something completely different. Hearing some shit and like seeing how things were just starting to fall apart. And this is what I'm saying, like it's hard for me to be in a relationship when I'm so hyper focused on my partner not being in this mental state of like, you know, um, you know, uh, like trouble. It's very important that at least my partner has some sort of independence and some sort of focus to keep them out of this mentality of not being able to get themselves out of the hole. And because that was my mom's issue. And um she was just really mentally stuck if in what went on in her life, and it was hard for her to grow. She was able to do great things, as far as I remember, with her church and all this stuff. My dad and her split up, but other than that, there was a lot of complications with her. And I mean, in the end of the day, she's a person too. But it like I cannot see myself interacting with her like a son. I just respect her because she's my elder, and you know, um she's my mom. But I'm not gonna pretend to be like, everything's okay and peachy, like, 'cause it's not, and I'm not gonna lie to her like that. I can't at all. Um, and it may be tough. It may be tough for her, because I can't imagine what it's like to just like be alone and feel like you have no one, and like but that's literally life. you know that's literally life. And I've heard stories that like my mom talks about my brother and I a lot, um and that like you know uh but I can't. I really can't. um and yeah, one day, I mean, I don't know what's up with her. I don't know if she's. I don't know. I don't. I just one day will find out. Just like that. One day I would just find out. Because I don't know anything right now. The last update I got was like in 2021 or something like that, when some girl was like, talking to her and trying to figure me out and everything like that. And so she decided to talk to her. But even my mom don't even know what's up with me. Only knows what she's seen on the internet and who she's talked to. But yeah. Yeah, that's just it. Like, you know, it's tough, but that's just how it goes. Um I can't. If I had kids of my own, hey, you know what? That would be the only difference there, is because it's the fact that, like, those kids have nothing to do with what my childhood or anything was like, and maybe she can give them something different, but like me personally, no. No. And I tried to tell my dad and my mom to, like, hey, for my brother to be there more for him, because to be honest, I got fucked up. Mentally, I got fucked up. You know, um I got fucked up in the sense that, like, you know, my mom telling me the things that happened, and I didn't know how to be there for her. I was 6. I was 6. How am I supposed to be there for my mom? Like, you know what I'm saying? Me trying to understand what the fuck happened to her, and who are these people that are doing that shit, and like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I'm a fucking kid. And seeing my mom fucking cry like that, seeing her like zone out, like, and this is what I'm saying, and like, for my friends or family members, or like even past relationships, whoever the fuck hears this shit, it's this replays in my fucking head all the fucking time. you know and I just felt so helpless. I don't know how to help her. And I get it. It sounds like, oh, you're being selfish and everything. Because I was a fucking kid. Being older now, like, dude, man, she had, she being out here in California with my dad, she probably didn't even know how to talk to my dad about it. And her family ain't out here. There's no one out here for her. She was out here by herself. You know what I'm saying? No one's out here for her. No one. Imagine trying calling people back home. Like, I love my family in Pennsylvania. I love them. They're like I love them. You know what I'm saying? It hurts me being so far away from them. But to be honest, they got their own stuff. They're not gonna listen to her. They're not gonna listen to her. And they're not, like, and no one's gonna have the patience. No one's gonna have the patience. Like I know no one's gonna have that patience with her. And they're gonna be like, we tried, but and it's not wrong. It's not wrong that they're focused in their own lives. They got their own kids, they got their own problems, they got their own shit going on. There's a lot of shit going on, but like, hey, that's everyone. And you know, my mom just struggled with that. And I saw that. I It was crazy living in Pennsylvania because like my dad built my brother and I race car beds. I used to go out in the snow with my dad, my brother, my mom. You know, my mom and my dude, my mom and I used to make Christmas wreaths out of vines that grew out in the back fucking yard of the apartment complex in Pennsylvania. Christmas wreaths. None of you guys in California know nothing about that. Like, you guys just buy at fucking Target and all this other fucking places, but we used to make this shit. You know? We used to be like a good family. And, you know, when we came out here, just shit just like started falling apart because, you know, my dad came out here to try to get more work because over in Pennsylvania, to be honest, it's East Coast and it's like towns, and the pay out there and living is cheaper than living in this city, you know, but the pay is not that well either, you know, and depending what you're doing, how long you're working, you know. Excuse me. You know, and it depends who you know as well. Like, so, and my dad just didn't have it out there. You know, again, I don't know too much about that. All I know is what I know is that he felt like he couldn't do much out there, so he came out to California because he immigrated from Mexico to California, got his papers and lived out here, and then that's where he met my mom, and then, you know, had me, and then went to Pennsylvania and then back here. And well, they had my brother out in Pennsylvania, and then they came out here. And yeah, it just started falling apart, you know, because my dad started to see that his partner wasn't like his partner, you know. And that's what I'm saying, like, where my mind comes from this, like, you know, and I'm not just blaming this on my mom. You know, I'm my parents. This is why it's so important that you don't just have kids just because of love, or just because, like, you know, just to have kids, or like, no. Because if you guys are not mentally there, you know, like, don't, you know. And if you guys end up doing, love your kid, and understand that your life, it's all about them. You know, at least that's what I'm planning on doing. Um, because, you know, yeah, it was just tough. You know, my mom just left, couldn't do it anymore. You know, I'll probably go into the details of that story another time. You know, and then, yeah, and then my dad trying to, you know, and he had to be taken by the cops, and he was in the right spot either. He was in a tough, you know, tough headspace, because here he is having to, like, figure out how to take care of these kids, hold down like two jobs, you know, and at the same time, you know, try to be, you know, a husband to a wife that's like falling apart, you know. And again, it's not to like say like, oh, it's my mom, or like he's doing the most. No, it's the fact that, like, it's the fact that these individuals that decided to have kids were on the same wavelength. They weren't on the same vibration. And you know, my mom had unresolved demons, and my dad didn't know how to be emotionally there, even though he grew up with his mom. His dad on the other hand left him. And there were times that my dad's like, he felt like he wanted to leave and everything, but to be honest, like, real talk, I feel like my dad never left, or never did any of that stuff out of spite of his father, and wanted to prove to himself and his dad that he's not him. Strong feelings of my dad loving my brother and I, and wanting to be there for his children, of course. But like on the other side of the coin, his pride, and I'm not saying I'm an expert or I know what, like, no, it's just things that I noticed, and things that like I was able to like just think about constantly over the years, and classes that I took, and research and all this other stuff, to just kind of like break down, or like, okay, well, this is where their mind was at and everything, and asking questions like, a long time ago, I would try to interact with my mom and try to figure out what happened. And she'll always blame my dad. Always. And, but never took accountability for her leaving and what she said and did. And the thing is that, like, again, not blaming her, but it's the accountability part. Just take accountability. But she's not in the right headspace. She's not in the right headspace. And no one with what she went through wants to be put on that spot to be like, because I can't imagine her as a kid trying to say things or speak up, and no one listening, or no one like what I'm saying, like, no one. And so it's easier to get mad. Like, it's not easy, like, it's frustrating. There you go. It's frustrating because now the words don't know how to come out, and you feel like you're being attacked. When what I told my parents constantly is that, like, I'm an adult now. I'm an adult, and I just want to figure out, so then I don't make the mistakes, or I need some sort of like closure to this kind of lifestyle, because it has affected me. Mentally, I can't slow down, and I'm overthinking a lot of shit that I do when it comes down to people, because I don't have to give a shit about people, but I'm very empathetic on situations and scenarios that they've gone through, because all I can see is the faces of my fucking parents, of what they went through. Single parents, I have the utmost sympathy, because my dad is the one that struggled with 2 kids, a single father trying to, like, figure it out while being homeless. We were living in a fucking car, in a van, going to a storage unit from time to time, living on a fucking storage unit, staying at a storage unit parking lot to a fucking hotel, then from a hotel to a fucking apartment, getting kicked out from a family member's house. I can't even say that because if they hear this shit or they watch it, man, you know, again, see, look, there you go. 'Cause I care. You know, like, in the end of the day, like, all these people, I don't want to look like a bad person. Like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Like, I'm not trying to attack anyone here. All I'm saying is what's going on. Like, where my mind is at, where I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to, you guys, me talking right now, I'm in the hole. I'm mentally in the hole. And you guys are with me, or whoever I'm talking to, you know, that could get it. Like, yeah, we're here, buddy, and like, I appreciate you being down here with me and understanding, you know, this feeling. And but the only way to get out is to get out. Climb and climb and climb, and we're gonna keep on falling back into this hole, but it's okay. Because it's all about being a better person. And, you know, like I said, like, you know, believing in God, and this is not for you to, like, to me to preach to you, but it's just to say in general for me, believing in God helps me stay focused and getting out that hole. And the people who my parents were, that weren't perfect, but at the same time they're my parents, allows me to be this person that, like, you know, knows how the world is very dark and hard, but I can make a difference. I can make a difference, and it's all a choice, you know. And that's why there's a difference between being kind and being nice. Kind is a choice. Kindness is a choice. You don't have to be like that. Being nice, everyone, oh, you gotta be nice. No. If someone is being mean to you, if someone is disrespecting you, if someone is like being toxic, then you have the right to speak up and tell them that they're being rude. And if they continue, you don't have to be you don't have to be kind anymore. Kindness is a choice, and you move forward with that. You move forward. You don't look back. Because you're good. Kindness is you are okay with doing whatever you're doing for another out of free will and not expecting anything back. Because you doing whatever you're doing is enough satisfaction. And a lot of people don't know how to perceive that or take that in, you know, because they're thinking that you're expecting something, and, like, you know, you're a vulture, you know. But yeah, you know, my mom, you know, that's just tough, and my dad too. And so those are the people that really helped me understand how to be there for people, but I don't know really how to be a person with people. Like, I feel emotionally shut off. Um, and it's frustrating. It really is. You know, like when I hear someone sad, if I can make them feel better, hey. If I can't, I just sit there and listen. But sometimes it looks like I don't know what to say, because I'm flashback to when I was 6 talking to my mom. I just sat there and listened. But when it's something out of my control, I don't even know. And then when they expect me to say something, I don't even know. I don't know. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? I'm paralyzed. And I wish I could do more. I wish I could take whatever bullshit's going on with you and take it and fucking throw it up in the air, you know. But I can't. But I can be there with you. You know, people that are struggling and need help, and all the time talk about money this, money that, and or, you know, like I need help moving and everything, comes from the fact when I was a kid, and the shit that I was going through with my dad. Constantly, like, he was constantly working, needed money, and trying to like provide. That's just it. It wasn't like he would need money, like, oh, I need, no. It's like he was trying to provide. He didn't know how to have money. He didn't trying to figure out how to have money for laundry. So I didn't go to school with like smelly ass socks, which sometimes I did, you know, because we couldn't do laundry that time, you know, and other, like, all that bullshit, bro. All that fucking bullshit, dude. Like, it's crazy that I'm starting to talk about this, and I'm actually gonna like start recording these kind of things just to talk. Just to talk. And like my life, bro, like around some people, like, you won't even imagine, dude. I don't, like, cuz I don't even put out that energy. I don't put out that energy that I've been through it. I don't put out that energy that, like, you know, I'm just fucking me. I'm just me, dude. I'm just me, and I participate in this bullshit rituals of fucking being a person on this day-to-day life. I just participate, and I choose to exist. I wake up and appreciate the gift of life, of being here. That is fucking it, dude. Cause I don't want to fucking be here. Dude, I want to kill myself. I don't like, this is fucking, like, it's ridiculous. It really is. And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not fucking alone. All right? I'm not saying like, oh, well, you're not doing, like, dude, I joined the fucking club. All right? But isn't that not positive enough that I am continuing? I'm continuing. Dude, it's it's more crazier when someone try to be happy versus someone who actually is happy. Like, you don't think I'm fucking happy? I may like, to you right now, like, dude, the real ones are gonna know, oh, he's fucking good. He's fucking good. The other ones are gonna be like, why does he sound so depressing? Why does he sound like this? He's talking about a lot of negative stuff. Like, dude, people who understand this mentality are understanding the fact that I'm talking about what it has been overcome. In my mind, I've gone to war multiple times with all these mixtures of feelings, of thoughts, and come out through this bullshit where it's like it's brighter. You know, when you walk outside, you ain't gonna see sunlight if your eyes are closed. But when you open them, that shit is bright as hell. And that's how you gotta see it. And if you can't, then hey, you're gonna you gotta one day you're gonna have to. If not, it's gonna be a lot tougher. You know, one way or another, life is gonna show you. Self discovery, it's all, that's what it is. Especially when you're isolating. Anyways, thank you for listening and hearing me out. And, I appreciate you guys just popping on by, you know. And in the comments, talk your shit. Talk your shit. You can talk as much shit as you want. I'm like, hey, I'm for it. I appreciate that. You can even be like, fuck you, you piece of shit, or like, middle finger emoji. You don't like, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. I appreciate it. But yeah. Take care of yourself.